SimWorld presents Around the Table with E and the Fat Man.
What's up, everybody? It's me, it's the B.O.B., and I am here with my man, E. How are you doing today?
I am doing well in 2023. Hopefully you are too. Hopefully everybody out there listening as well. Happy New Year to you all. Hoping for the best for you, your players, and teams in the new year.
Absolutely. Hopefully everybody got home safe last night. This is Around the Table. I am the Fat Man. That is E. And this is a show where we just talk about pretty much anything we want about the sports world. Today, obviously, New Year's. So we're going to have a little bit of a New Year's celebration. Right?
Keep it topical. Yeah, I like it.
Going to talk about some new things that we like. So I guess the first thing we can really start off with is do we have a favorite new SimWorld player? And I guess I'll start this one off. So I have to go with, and I'm really biased against Biggs, and it's actually a really tough one for me because there's so many, but you see Trey Hyman's name everywhere. He's a great player, but he's also always trying to help everybody out. And I think that's one thing that really draws me to him, with him being my favorite new player. Just somebody that is new to something, but still willing to step out and help other people try and learn along with him.
Well, you can't argue against a Trey Hyman pick for sure, both in terms of what we've seen during the preseason and pickup action. Obviously super talented, but I do like too that, active, vocal presence as well on this team, with the media, on the boards. Trey Hyman, can't really disagree with that.
Oh yeah.
I am going to go with somebody who isn't quite as far up the rankings, although certainly catching some notice, or gets quite the media attention. No way, I'm going to build this up, Bob. Or gets quite the media attention or that. But for me, Tyrell Marr, who actually recently had a preseason tourney game outbreak. I think he scored 11 of his team's 14 points in a defeat.
Nice.
But that's what Tyrell Marr does. He's 6'4", so good size, out of College Station, Texas. Currently unsigned too, by the way, coaches. You might want to look at this. And look, I'm a little bit surprised I didn't pick somebody who's more of like a complete player here, because that's often who I am. I'm a Lonzo Ball fan, and I often try to pick out guys kind of do it all like that. That's not Tyrell. He's not that much of a defender. He's not going to get you a ton of rebounds, but he is just offensive firepower, just liquid nitrogen in a jar. When it comes to that, can score, can shoot, can fill it up. A lot of fun to watch. Big plus for your team. I'm going to go with Tyrell Marr.
There you go. You heard it here first.
For the new guys, anyway. Now that's new guys, new recruits, people we didn't see last year. So maybe we bring a little bit of the old with the new, Bob. Tell me about. Well, actually, I'll go first. I'll tell you about my favorite old player on a new team. I'll jump the gun here. Go first if you don't mind, Bob.
Oh yeah,
because I am excited about it. Because I'm amazed how much the script got flipped with this guy in general, and even for me. Khalil Erickson, last year with the team now known as Run DMV, everybody kind of was in the shade of what Cooper King Cross could do. So it was hard to sort of stand out and star on that team. But all that Khalil Erickson really got known for in the end was his blow up with Coach Murray and leaving the squad. Ended up on the Yacht Club, where I think when he signed there was a collective shrug of the shoulders from SimWorld. But from what I have seen this offseason, kid is reborn. It looks great, looks like a total asset. And on that team where you've got, the Lasters and Dominic Bianco, I think he is going to be an exceptionally good piece for them. I expect big things from the Yacht Club this year. And I think that Erickson's going to be a big part of that. So that's my old player. Who do you got, Bob?
Well, I want to say it's hard for me to want to say that he's my favorite player on a new team, because with Khalil, I take a lot into what happens on the court as well as someone's attitude. And just the way that last season ended for Eriksson, man, I don't want to give him any kind of shine or anything right now.
I understand.
But now I'm going to go and contradict myself with my selection. Despite all of the drama, my complete annoyance with him, and my hope that he would just disappear, Tyson Simpson is my favorite player in a new place. And that's also going to go along with, again, my bias towards bigs. I think you need a good big to be able to really succeed in basketball. And Tyson Simpson, probably almost a complete play. He probably is the most complete returning big. Obviously, there is Lorenzo Phenom out there, but I think Simpson is the most complete returning big. And obviously, he's on a new team, so he fits our theme.
Well, that is a conflicted, complicated, contrary take from you, Bob.
I know.
That goes against all sorts of Bob principles.
I know. It's like I want to punch him in the mouth, but at the same time, I know he's I guess that's the thing with talent, is sometimes you can overlook the flaws, character flaws, whenever it comes to their talent. And unfortunately, in sports, talent outweighs most of the character flaws that some of these kids and adults eventually are going to have. But that's how high up on a pedestal we've put athletes.
Interesting. Yeah. Unconventional take, but I like it. And you can articulate a defense for it. So can't ding you for it, Bob.
Yeah, and I'll admit, like I'll say some things that are contradictory, but I'll admit it. I'll admit it. I'm not always right. I'm usually not wrong. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and continue this. The new stuff. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you: do you have we've had a new favorite uniform that has been released?
It's interesting. There's been a lot of the new uniform releases, logo releases, all the rest of this that have drawn a, let's say, polarizing review. People love and hate some of these things, and I get it. But for me, I have to say that my favorite one at this point has to be SimWorld Africa's rebrand and new uniforms. They are, it's kind of a simple sort of black and white, road and home look, but I think it's really streamlined, really elegant, fits well with the new SimWorld Africa logo. It's all Jordan brand designed. So that's, they're bringing some design firepower to the table there. It's just a nice, clean look. I'm a big fan of the SimWorld Africa design. What about you, Bob? Got anything that really stood out to you as a like for you?
So I think anything is better than the Vaseline cover Lone Star basketball jerseys. But yeah, no, I have to stick with it. I know my favorite is probably going to change because of one of my favorite logos has not been released yet on jerseys. But right now, Run DMV. I just think Run DMV, obviously the Run DMV logo is amazing in itself. Mix, obviously, Run DMV, Run DMC. But I just, and I think I've always been one of those, back in whenever you could make your own teams in video games and stuff, I always stuck with like the black and red or the black, red, and white color mix. And I think that's probably what, it's nostalgic to me. And I just think the dark colors, they go well together. And the logo, again, amazing. So by far for me, Run DMV's jerseys.
Yeah. No, I like your pick there too. It would probably be a second or a third for me if we were going down the list. I think almost universal acclaim for those jerseys. I'll end it on this just saying I am so happy just that each team gets their own jersey this year. If you were with us during our season 1 last year, everybody kind of wore a variant of the same theme.
Oh yeah.
So both as a fan, as an announcer, in the commentary booth, it was tough at times. Looking forward to just be able to look out there and be like, "Oh, that's raining trays at a glance."
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be so nice.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I picked an international team for my favorite new uniform look. Let's talk about international players. You know, we both listed our sort of new favorite recruits in the game, but let's talk about the global scene.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys out there. I think there's going to be it's a big year, I think, for international recruits coming into the game overall, you know, and we're probably going to see that in SimWorld as you do everywhere. It's going to wax and wane a little bit where the talent's coming from. I think there's a lot of really good international talent coming in this year. You have a favorite, Bob, of the new global kids outside the U.S. coming into SimWorld?
Yeah, and I will honestly be surprised if your answer is any different. But it has to be Gil Blumenstein.
I love Gil. Blumenstein.
I for a second, I had to picture his last name in my head. I was like, is it S-T-I or S-E-I-E? I couldn't. But yeah,
you're thinking of that old Mel Brooks. You're thinking of that old Mel Brooks movie, young Blumenstein, I think is what it was called.
But yeah, no, he has to be, in my opinion, one of the top. He's going to be one of the top players in all of SimWorld. But at this time, he's not the top international player, but he is, I think, the top international new player for sure. Vekic obviously has been playing out of his mind.
Yeah, he has.
And I think honestly, and obviously we're talking about new stuff, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the old. I think I might start wavering on my Edgar Fernandez is going to have to lose that top international player spot. I think Vekic is playing into that top spot. So I'm sorry, Edgar. I'm wavering a little bit. You got to do something. But I guess, what about you? Who do you have a top or favorite international new player?
Well, I mean, you know, I'd actually have to go Gil too. I like all throw Gil, 6'9", 200-pounder who you know, kind of plays as a wing, can sort of play 2 or 3 different positions in your traditional 1 through 5 kind of breakdown out there. You know, great shooter. I think he's an underappreciated athlete. I think we've seen some of that already in the tape. You know, there's actually a raft of Israeli talent specifically coming into the game this year. Yeah. Gil's already signed up with Indy Stripes, and I think he's going to be a huge asset to them. But, you know, I will also quickly, just because you already discussed Gil, so we won't hammer him too much. But there is another player out there who I am hugely fond of, who is currently unsigned. Coaches, if you're listening right now, go out and reach out to this kid, JD Reyes. Talk about Gil being an athlete. JD might be the best athlete, you know, certainly unsigned and certainly outside of the United States, I would say. You know, coming into the game. Saw him the other day when I was calling the Basketball Without Borders Asia matchup in Beijing. And this kid can just, you know, he's a slasher. He can get to the rim. He can shoot a little bit from outside, but he's just an all-around athlete. Take a hard look, coaches, at JD Reyes as well. But yeah, Gil Blumenstein, potential to be a monster. Really interested to see how he plays once the Indy Stripe season gets going.
Yeah, and I know you've mentioned it a couple times. There's all these players that are unsigned right now, and coaches need to reach out. Do not forget, we are 15 days away from the official signing period opening back up. So not only should you guys be recruiting all these players out there right now that are unsigned, don't forget that there are some coaches probably behind your back trying to steal some of your players as well. So
yep.
But
that's a great point, Bob.
Yeah, but let's go ahead. We're going to switch gears a little bit to my favorite sport. We're going to wrap this up a little bit. We have now the national championship game in college football is official. It's official. And they both, did you watch any of those games last night or keep up with them at all?
No, I got to watch some of both. I didn't watch every minute of both, but I got to watch a good chunk of both.
Barn burners, buddy. They were.
Yeah, they were.
They were some special games. We had TCU blew a 21-3 lead, and Ohio State, I think they were up 14 going into the fourth over Georgia, and TCU came back, beat Michigan. Georgia came back, beat Ohio State. So now we have the and I love it. I love the Cinderella team making it to the national championship. So we have Georgia versus TCU. Do you have a prediction?
Yeah, I mean, congratulations to TCU. That was a huge win, historic win for them and for the conference even. in certainly the college playoff. They're a great story. Some great individual talent on that team. They're going to quarterback, also a wide receiver. I think that's their high water mark, though. I think at the end of the day, Georgia, who I expected was going to get a battle from Ohio State. I did think Georgia would win. Obviously, it could have gone either way. A field goal made or missed made the decision on the end. But I do think that Michigan really kind of self-destructed. It would be asking a lot to sort of imagine TCU coming back next week and taking 2 pick sixes back to the house again. So again, I really like TCU. I'll be rooting for TCU. This is the truth next week because they're a great story and the underdog and no disrespect to Georgia and no dislike of Georgia for me, but I'm also not a Georgia fan. But I think they just have a little bit too much talent. They're going to be too much for TCU in the end, and I see a 10 or 14 point Georgia win next Monday. How about you, Bob?
I think that's being a little generous. As much as I would love to see TCU pull it out, I want to see them win. I like to see the underdog. I think Georgia's going to smash them. Obviously, like you said, TCU, they have some good, solid players. The defense, they played well enough yesterday, obviously, with the pick sixes, but are they going to be able to do that against Georgia? Are they going to be able to come back against Georgia? Like you said, TCU has a really good wide receiver. They have a decent running game, at least against Michigan they did, but I don't see, they need that running game to really get their passing game going, which that's the age-old tale, get the running game set up to open up the passing game. I don't think Georgia is going to allow that running game to open up. Obviously, Ohio State has always had a ton of talent at running back, and they didn't do a great job against Georgia. And I think if Georgia shuts down TCU's running offense, it's going to be an early night for. It's going to be a long night, I'll say, for TCU. I'm going to go Georgia 45, TCU 17.
All right. So we both got Georgia. I'm calling a little bit tighter game, but that's our only difference there.
Yeah. No, like I said, I love these types of things. I really think that all those years ago when Hawaii went undefeated with Colt Brennan, I really wish they would have I know they would have got smashed. But I would have loved to have seen them have the opportunity in the national championship game. And I think the national championship game was a blowout that year. I can't remember exactly, but that was a long time ago. I was a youngin'. But so both got TCU, and I'm going to assume that all those bettors out there that TCU will not cover the spread.
Right, whereas I might have them within it. So
there you go.
Maybe that's a little bit of our dividing line. Well, we're both on Georgia and we're both on Gill. And I guess the other thing that we're on is wishing all of our listeners and everybody out there in SimWorld a very good 2023. We appreciate that you guys have been with us. We appreciate all the coaches done interviews. We look forward to maybe getting a few more of you on the show this year. And looking forward to signing period coming up and the real games getting underway not too long after that too.
Absolutely. Do not miss I think I'm gonna announce this, but I think the game might be before before we there's a basketball without borders today, Australia. That game is at noon. This is going to go up at 3:00. So pretend like this is before. Watch the basketball without borders game. And go Vikings, go Penn State. They play today. All right, well, have a great New Year's, everybody, and be safe out there.
Happy New Year, everybody.